This video shows a model of a Solinst Water Flute Multilevel groundwater monitoring system. Information about the system can be found at www.solinst.com.
Hello, I'm Murray Einerson, here to share with you a model of a Solinst Flute Multilevel monitoring system. This is one of 4 engineered multi-level monitoring systems that are commercially available. All of those 4 systems have common attributes. One is they allow the collection of groundwater samples at multiple depths, up to dozens or even hundreds of different depths. And they allow measurements of pressure at many different depths in a well or a borehole. And then most importantly, they seal the borehole, the interior of the well or the borehole, so that there is no ambient vertical flow of groundwater within the well or the borehole. This system, the Flute Liner, was developed by Carl Keller at Los Alamos National Labs in the 1990s. And I've described this system in the Princeton remediation course for 20 years. I've never installed the system, but it's confusing to people, and it's confusing to me because it's shipped to you inside out, and then it gets everted or turned right side out as it's being deployed in the borehole. So that process of eversion, the verb is to evert, which means to turn something inside out. And a good analogy for that is a tube sock. If you're old enough to remember what tube socks are, you have the tube sock on your leg, and then when you take it off, you grab the top of it, pull it off your leg, and that turns it inside out. So that's the same thing that is going on here, except the liner is shipped to you inside out, and then it gets turned right side out as it's being lowered into the borehole. The system can be installed in open boreholes, drilled into consolidated sediments or rock. It can also be installed in idle or abandoned water supply wells that are either perforated in certain zones or can be mechanically perforated in multiple different zones, and then it can be installed in multi-screen PVC cased wells. And the diameters can be 4 inches, 6 inches, 10 inches, even 12 inches. So that's the background on this. Again, it is just a model, and it's pretty rough around the edges. The seams leak a little tiny bit. The ones from Solinst do not leak, but I have a little secondary containment there to capture the little bit of water that is generated. I think I've described the design, how you design this. It takes a couple weeks to get it constructed, then it's shipped, but in that time period, there is that temporary liner that prevents vertical movement of water in the borehole. So I'm going to show you how this is deployed in a well. And again, like I said before, this is shipped to you inside out. So I'm going to turn it inside out. And then we're going to pretend that it's on a reel that comes either on a flatbed truck or on a trailer. And so now you're looking at the inside of the liner. And so there's these different tubes. And the different tubes are colored. Blue is for water samples, so sampling ports at different depths. That's 100 feet, that's 200 feet. And then there's ports at 100 feet and 200 feet with pressure transducers connected right here. So that's how it's shipped to you, but we don't just drop it in. We start with this end, so the top end, and we basically attach it to the wellhead. So I'm going to attach it to the wellhead like this. And then just kind of slide it down and secure it. And I'm going to secure it with this little strap. There's fancier ways to attach it, of course, that are provided by Solinst, but I'm just using my little ski strap. And so that's what it looks like. Here's my secondary containment. There's the well. So now, how do I get this down? Well, I add water to the inside of this, or drilling mud, or I can add sand. You can even blow air into this. But I'm going to use water to demonstrate this. So I have a water source, and then I basically add water, which basically starts to weigh it down, and it starts to just turn it so you can see the water sampling port right there. Now it's just starting to be turned inside out. So now it is fully inverted, and I just add enough water to be 10 or 20 or 30 feet above the hydrostatic pressure in the formation, and that water pressure keeps it sealed and keeps the liner pressed very tightly up against the wall of the borehole, and so that is preventing any kind of ambient vertical flow within the well. And then you have the ports, pressure monitoring port number 1 here, number 2 at 200 feet, and then at the same thing on the other side. And so these are the cables, the sampling tubes in blue, and the pressure transducer lines that come out of the wellhead and connect to sampling pumps, and then also to data loggers at the surface. When this is no longer needed, it can be removed really easily just by pumping the water out and then pulling the liner out. So that's an overview of the Solinst Water Flute system. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you.